We begin with the conflict of the Democratic Republic of Congo, perhaps one of the bloodiest, longest-running in the world. One of the key protagonists, of course, is Rwanda. After the genocide of 1994, thousands of Rwandan Hutus, including many who took part in the genocide, fled into Congo. They're still there. They're cited by Rwanda as a reason for its abiding interest in its giant neighbour. Millions of dollars have been spent on a United Nations force, but still the Congo remains without peace and stability. Rwanda has often been accused of backing warring parties for its own interests, but in an interview with the BBC's Komla Dumo, President Paul Kagame says the leaders of the region and the world are to blame for the plight of Congo.
Politics and governance involve central leadership, there's no doubt about it. But it is not to be confined to only Africa or the particular region where the problem is. It goes beyond. I think it lacks leadership globally, because the international community, working through the UN or bilaterally with the government of Congo, that country where the problems are, or even different countries in the region. On one hand, they are seen to be saying the right thing and doing the right thing, but we come to nothing. That tells you a story. There is something that is not properly managed, and therefore lack of proper management means lack of proper leadership as well.
But surely that must come back to the issue of African leadership, because the problems of the Congo have been in the region for many, many years. You will be meeting with your counterpart heads of state as the African Union celebrates another milestone. I just wonder to what extent there is a degree of commitments to really dealing with this issue beyond the lip service of, well, we're going to try this or we're going to try that. Still no solutions.
You can say that again. Certainly the problems have been there for many, many years. I was telling people the other day, the problems of Congo, or some of the problems in the region have been there before I was born, and we are still having similar problems or problems originating from that situation. And it all comes to issues of governance, to issues of leadership, to issues of where, indeed, in many cases, Africa finds itself. It's a big challenge to us in Africa, to the leaders of Africa, the people of Africa, their backgrounds. I think we need to get our act together and do things differently and seriously and focus on how we can work together to deal with these issues that affect all of us. I don't think they affect only one country or another. They affect all of us and even go beyond. So I agree with you entirely. I mean, there has been lack of, doing the right things that we need to do to either prevent some of the things that keep developing or even do away and deal with the old cases.
That's Rwanda's president there, Paul Kagame, speaking to my colleague Komla Dumo. Now, President Kagame has been calling for more productive international cooperation on Congo, yet there have been many high-level diplomatic meetings. Mvemba Pezo Dizolele is a Congolese analyst. He's also a visiting fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford University in the United States. I asked him earlier on whether regional meetings held under the Ugandan government, the African Union, the East African Community, the regional bodies, whether they've actually achieved anything in helping to stabilize eastern Congo.
Those meetings, I'm sorry to say, Lorato, do not amount to much because there's no political will to really solve the problem. The problem primarily is between Congo, Uganda, and Rwanda. We need to keep in mind that Congo has 9 neighbors, and Congo is not facing any major conflict with any other of the neighbors. Congo, in fact, has larger borders with Angola, with Congo-Brazzaville, with Zambia, and none of those borders are problematic at the level to bring war. So the question is really, what is it that President Kagame, as powerful as he is, because he's a very powerful man, and President Museveni of Uganda, another powerful man, what is it that they find in Congo that they cannot solve politically?
What do you think it is that they find in Congo that they cannot solve?
I don't think there's anything in Congo that they cannot solve. I think it's the lack of political will. Congo is the size of Western Europe. Most of Congo is not at war. So as long as we keep Congo in the chaos, because the constant intervention of Rwanda militarily in Eastern Congo destabilizes the region, it doesn't bring any peace. It's a temporary reprieve maybe that the Rwandans are gaining. It's the same for Uganda. What they should be supporting is the political process, the electoral, transparent political process in DRC, because DRC is the heart and the backbone of the economic progress of the region.
You're suggesting that there's a lack of political will, and hence the question, if there's a lack of political will, what would Uganda, Rwanda have to gain by having this part of Congo not working effectively?
Remember, Congo is very rich. That area, there's an entire network of mafia-like organizations that are exploiting the resources of DRC outside the control of the government of DRC. Those resources are going through both Uganda and Rwanda and bringing a lot of cash in those countries. So it's a situation that actually, even though at the surface it looks very messy, that is very profitable to both networks in Rwanda and Uganda.
And finally, you talk about a political solution and Rwanda being open to it. What about responsibility on the part of Kinshasa?
Kinshasa has a lot of responsibility. I do not mean by any way to absolve Kinshasa of its responsibility, but the balance of force and power is not the same. This is something that happens quite a bit in history. It's not a secret that the DRC government is weak, the state is weak, and that Rwanda and Uganda have stronger states, relatively stronger military, and definitely a lot of influence within the international community. They should use that influence to help resolve the conflict politically, because that's the key to peace in the region. Militarily, we're not going to go anywhere. In fact, we've had 20 years of military intervention in the region. It's not solved the FDR problem. It's not solved the Kivu's problem. If anything, it's flared that up. So I still contend that it's the political openness that will bring peace to the region.
More talking, less guns. Mvemba Pezo Dizolele, a Congolese analyst. He's also visiting fellow at the Hoover Institute at Stanford.